gates of the Arctic National Park. They are the only, Wright Air Service is the only ones that provide air service into this park. And I'm going to Anaktuvuk Pass, which is a town of about 320 people. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time over there. Can never forecast what the rain is going to be and the weather conditions, but I tried my best. So we're going to make the best day of it. at Gates of the Arctic National Park, and I am at AKP, which stands for Anaktuvuk Pass. And this is the little airport. We've got just a little bit of clear skies right now, so I'm gonna go out and explore. My first stop is going to be the ranger station here at Anaktuvuk Pass.
Happened to be introduced to some of the families in 1949 by pilot Sigween. This guy, Helge Engstad, lived with one of the families here for almost a year, went home to Norway, wrote this book about it, and kind of inspired a whole generation of researchers to come and sort of document this transition from this nomadic subsistence way of life to kind of the village as you see it today. So as a result, that's actually the first museum in the North Slope.
Cool.
Because of all this.
And they're open today?
They should be. I can't tell you for sure. You'd have to.
Okay.
But it's just a block.
The museum.
Up on this bluff here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Anything else you can tell me about?
I could tell you about all kinds of things.
The Gates of the Arctic, that would be interesting. I mean, I know that it's the second largest national park in the system at 8 million acres, a little over 8 million acres.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's about, 320 residents here in Anaktuvuk Pass. So here at the ranger station at the Gates of the Arctic, I met and talked with Ranger Al, and he had to change the little stamp for me. The last person that's visited here for the national parks was on August the 24th. Today is September 1st, 2023, and he gave me lots of information on what to see and do in my short period here on my little day trip. Walking through town here at Anaktuvuk Pass, Alaska, and he said it's probably a population of about 375, but they got a little health center there. They got a store, and they got a school. I rode over with one of the teachers that was coming back from Fairbanks. She teaches the 3rd and 4th grade. She said there's 104 students. So, thank goodness they have a substitute teacher when she's gone. So, but it's pretty here. The clouds have just raised up enough in order to take in some of the sights. So, we got one bridge in town. This is the bridge right there. And you see some folks walking across it right now. But this is the river that comes down through this part and right through the middle of town. Supersonic clear water, and because it's glacier melt up in there, so beautiful. Really a remote place, one of the most remote places, and as he was saying, the tribes here, this tribe is one of the existing tribes that came over from the Bering Strait land bridge over 10,000 years ago. I have walked through the little town of Anaktuvuk Pass, and I'm up to kind of the little ridge, and I'm gonna walk up a little further, get some shots. But there's a couple churches made out of log cabin type churches that they have here, and as well as a museum. And so he was on lunch. He said to come back at 1, so I'll do that and get some more pictures of their native heritage here and the tribe here. And so I'm gonna get ready to take this little unknown trails. There is no trails in this park, no entrances. You have to fly in if you want to actually put foot on the ground, or you have to hike 5 miles from the eastern edge. But this is a rugged tundra type of soil, and they have harsh weather. But I was able to get just a little bit of a clear day, so I can get some pictures and share them with you of Gates of the Arctic. So we're in the Arctic Circle, so about 280 miles north of Fairbanks. It took about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to get here. And so I'm just doing a day trip and see what there is to offer here at this park. So hiking up just above town just to get a better view. And this soil is real mossy and squishy. I'm just gonna show it to you. So when you walk across it, it's got all kinds of colors in it, which is kind of cool, but your foot just sinks into the moss because it's, this is tundra under here, so there are no trees in this park. Just they can't grow because down a foot it's frozen solid still. So this is not an area where trees will grow naturally. So there might be some in town, some low lying ones, but there's the town there. Quite an adventure to come out here. That's just beautiful. He said that the caribou, the caribou have their migration about this time of year, but he goes, they track them, and the ranger said that they track them, and they're only about 100 miles north of here right now, so they're in the north end of the park. This is on the north end of the Arctic Circle of the park, and I want to make sure I'm stepping right so I do not step in a puddle and get my feet wet. But it's really pretty. All these colors, I had no idea it was going to be this colorful with all these yellows and if there's any bushes at all, they're really small, so no trees. But this one is really cool. This mountain right here with all the rock crags. Here at the Gates of the Arctic National Park, this is a very unique park because it is so remote. It is a little over 8 million acres, so it makes it the second largest national park in our system. However, it's some of the least visited park. Only about 11,000 visitors make it out to Gates of the Arctic National Park each year. And this is so big that it's like the size of Switzerland, but it's tundra. It's only about 1,500 people live within the park boundaries, and they're all natives, the Eskimo that came over from the about 10,000 years ago from nowadays Siberia on the Bering Land Bridge. So this park is very beautiful. I'd like to be able to take and go up into one of these higher peaks here, but it's kind of hard. I'm only here for a few hours, just a small plane in, and I'll be here for a few hours and back out, so just a day trip. This is the village here, Anaktuvuk Pass. AKP is what they call it, which is their airport code. And there's no trails, no roads into this area. They do allow hunting in the preserve area, which is unusual. And it became a national park back in, actually a national monument. It was approved back in 1978. And then it became a national park just 2 years later in 1980. So it's truly the last frontier out here. This is tundra, little trees grow, it's harsh conditions. The highest, today it's probably 50 degrees, maybe 48. But this is our summer. This is September 1st, 2023. So the animals that call this the wildlife are abundant here. There's more animals here than people. And there's the caribou. They have a migration that goes from the north of the park through the park, and the Continental Divide cuts through here. There's also Dall sheep, and of course the grizzly bear, which is they call the brown bear, and moose oxen. The musk oxen is what they're called, actually, musk oxen, and they call it musk ox because they're stinky, so it's that musky smell. But they're a big buffalo-looking thing with horns. They have the gray wolf here. They have wolverines. But the caribou is what these folks survived on. They used it for their transportation. They hunted them, and then they used them as a food source. They still do to this day. They go hunting for the caribou. They used it for their shelter. They made tents out of the hides. They made their clothing, their parkas, to stay warm, and they used the skins for their pants and boots and socks, mittens, snowshoes, sleds, and then they even used the tendons to make fish nets so that they could catch fish. So this is they call it the Gates of the Arctic because there is actually the Brooks Mountain Range, and then there's another one called the Craigs in the park, and that's the two of those combined on either side of a river look like the gates into the Arctic to the person that discovered this area and said, hey, let's make it a national park because it's so unique. So there's only one access point, like I said, which is down there in that village by air flight from Fairbanks, or I think you can even come in on a different charter flights from other places like Beetles, that is. There's one ranger station here, and Ranger Al is the ranger, and he's a very nice guy. This park does not have any kind of services, none whatsoever. No picnic tables, no campgrounds, no services. So this is where I have chosen to have lunch, on this rock right by the creek here that has this beautiful backdrop. So I'm gonna munch down my lunch. I'm gonna go into town and check out the museum and learn a little bit more about this park and the peoples here. So totally remote. When I flew in, there was only 5 on the aircraft with the pilot, and the lady behind me was one of the school teachers here, and she said, watch out for the gray wolves because they do come down from the mountains and come in near town. But then they got a lot of husky dogs here, the mushing dogs, so they kind of alert people. But so I got to be on the lookout for any kind of wildlife coming towards me, but haven't seen any yet, and I probably won't. He said bears, the grizzly bears, don't usually come into town very often, so it's very often. So just gonna have my lunch and enjoy it here. To the Arctic National Park. I'm at their little museum, and the museum is at the top of the hill right before you can climb up and get a great view. And so there's a $20 donation for this museum, but it explains about the peoples of this land and the tools that they've made, hunt, and what they've utilized from, see, those are shoes made looking like a bird, and those are snowshoes there, and this is a sled. There's some of the pictures of them with their husky dogs pulling them around for transportation. Dog harnesses, that's a dog harness right there. Yeah. And the snowshoes and the mittens. It's a very harsh conditions here majority of the year. This just happens to be summertime, September. So and there they are harvesting. They call it harvest instead of hunting. Harvesting a caribou like they have done for thousands of years. Their subsistence, their seasonal subsistence. It's a doll sheep. Caribou hunting. So the migration comes down through here, and they even domesticated some of them to kind of lure in the others. And some deer as well. Fishing, the ice fish. This is one of their fish nets. This is one of their traditional huts. There's the shoes. They have the gray wolf here, so they trap them. There's some of the pelts, and there's one of the traps there. This is some of their traditional clothing. Pretty cool. Made from the caribou. The pants. Clothing. Some of their cooking utensils. And they teach their children early how to use a bow and arrow and how to hunt with them. Very, very cool. It's a nice little museum. It's the only Northborough museum in existence. Soft. These are some of the folks, the Eskimos and the different tribes. And these are pictures of the folks that live here and have lived here for centuries. Very interesting. They built a school back in 1950s and developed this town with an airstrip and all that so they could get in and out. So it's a very cool display of all the other stuff. this place, Anaktuvuk Pass, is very remote. They have a few cars. Most everybody gets around on those little ATVs. These little guys right here. Some of them have like 6 wheels on them. And it is a place that of the inland Eskimos. And it's quiet here. Except for the sound of a occasional car or the ATVs that are traveling around. But this is the airstrip, and waiting for my return trip back to Fairbanks, which is an hour and 45 minutes. But it's their little post office right there. And the mail just came in on Everett's Air, and everybody came to greet it. That was expecting a package, and then the rest of it went to the post office. So everything has to be flown in here. I wondered how these people actually get vehicles out here, but I guess there's a way to get them here. But they have a gorgeous view, some of the best views I've ever seen in my life of these surrounding mountains and this whole pass here. It's just beautiful. I had a great time here at Anaktuvuk Pass at the gates of the Arctic National Park. So whatever you're doing today, get out and enjoy the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile. This aircraft, on the way back from AKP, there was an ATV in here, so there's only 3 seats and the pilot. And so it's my friend here from Barrow and my friend here from El Paso, and we are headed back to Fairbanks. Gates of the Arctic National Park, my 59th park, just 2 days away. This is September 1st, 2023, just 2 days away from my 59th birthday. So what more to celebrate 59th birthday than come to a 59th national park on my bucket list of all the parks to see and do here in the United States. This one in Alaska in the Arctic Circle area. So if you enjoyed this video and the pictures and exploring about the Gates of the Arctic National Park, click the like button down below there and subscribe to my channel and follow me and Jeff on our adventures to see all 63 national parks.